Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Edges into 30 Key Media. Thank you for coming by and tuning in. I've had the car for about 2.5 years now. And I've had plenty of time coming on the track, on the canyons, and in the street. And I've had a little bit of experience just owning the car. And I kind of want to make this video on the list of 5 things that I thought I disliked about the car going into my 3rd year of ownership. And just go off as point number 1 is that it's the white tan interior. So the RSXs, especially in the 2004 to 2002 model, first generation, a lot of them came in the tan interior. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the ones in Canada and Japan had black interior, but the ones in US first generation rarely came in tan interior, if not at all. So in order to get the best of both worlds, I think white looks the best on the RSX and the black interior looks the best as well. So you kind of have to mix and match and buy the black interior parts to kind of swap in. It is a lot of work. It took me about 3 weeks to do, but I think it transformed the car and made it look a lot more modern and a lot more like JDM-ish. And I think putting in the time and the due to do that part, you're gonna have to like maybe paint some panels, but as you saw in my video that I shot a couple of months ago that I swapped out the whole interior for the car, I think that was something that I realized that as soon as I got the car, I wanted to do that because it's something to find an RSX in really good condition, and if sometimes you gotta have to like give or take. So I found an RSX that I thought was in great condition, but just some setbacks that I had to overcome. So the tan interior was one of those setbacks, and eventually you guys can do the same thing that I did, just scavenge the parts, swap out their interior, and then you should be good to go there. The second thing that I disliked about the car was the wheel gap. And RSX stock, the engine and transmission is really good, shifts really well, but when it comes to handling, it felt a little bit floaty to me. And especially going around corners, I felt a lot like body roll as I was turning. I was kind of like moving side to side. So I noticed I could kind of fit my hand like, you know, between the wheel well, like between the tire, and right now I have about a 1.5 to 2 finger gap, but I could fit my whole hand in here, and that's how big of the wheel gap it was. For some reason I thought it was a lot bigger than like maybe competitor cars, just like the Civic Si or of that nature. So something that I had to address was the not only just like cosmetic wise, what the wheel gap looks kind of like a little bit off, but when your car is lowered and you're running a really good suspension setup, it's lower to the ground with the lower center of gravity, so your handling overall improves. Just keep in mind that you're going to have to, you know, upgrade your suspension, get a corner balance, and replace all the bushings. This suspension is a really complicated area, so I don't really normally touch much about that. I normally usually take it in for that. But that being said, just leading into point number 3 is the RSX's stock do not come with LSD. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but everything else is really good about the car. I know the 06 SIs do come with LSD in the later generations, but in Japan, the Integra Type R did come with LSD, and for some reason in the US, we didn't get really the good upgrade there. But it's a good opportunity for you guys to kind of upgrade the LSD if you can afford it. It is a little bit of expensive modification, but as I did my clutch, I got the clutch flywheel and the rear main seal done. I used that chance that the transmission was dropped to upgrade the LSD as well. So normally shops charge you probably between like $400 to $500 to get that installed. So I think although it is an expensive upgrade, it's worth it in the long run, because on the track, when I'm cornering in and I'm punching it out, tires don't screech, and I can feel the transition of the power from to the outer wheels to the inner wheels. Like it's more balanced, and you get an even transition of power. So I think an LSD is a really good modification to add to your car. Just make sure that you save some money, or you pick the right one to do. I ran a Wave Track LSD and haven't had any issues with it. Comes with a really great warranty, and it works really good for my car. The fourth point, this is probably the most key point I wanted to bring up that I disliked about the car, was upgrading the rear sway bar. And I've ran a 24mm progressive sway bar on this car, and that hit my exhaust. So I had to actually swap that out after just like 1 or 2 days of driving. Keep in mind that you do have to upgrade the end links. I used the OEM ones with the progressive sway bar, and it actually it would break because I think the load was too much for it to handle, so the end links would break. So I ordered the Hotkish end links, and that actually helped hold the rear sway bar firmer in position. So being the stock millimeter is 19 millimeter in thickness, and that was a bit too thin. So the median for rear sway bar is the JDM Type R, which comes in the 22 millimeter, and that fit perfectly onto the Hotchkiss end links that I have right now. So it's something to keep in mind where you're just doing suspension work and upgrading sway bars. You do have to like, maybe do some little modifications to get the fit right. Worst comes to worst, you can take it to like an exhaust shop if you have an exhaust, and they can just modify your exhaust and kind of weld on a different like pattern to actually have it fit. But nevertheless, I think the best fitment rear sway bar for this car is actually the 22mm JDM Type R sway bar. You can order that from like IDCB Motorsports or eBay. You can even buy it used. They're fairly inexpensive, between like 100 and 200 bucks. So that was something that I wanted to point out to you guys that I had issues with there. And the last issue was just theft. And I think the RSX looks amazing. I love the styling of it, and everywhere you go, you gotta be careful where you park the car, when you drive, make sure people aren't following you, and just for preventative maintenance, I have tracking devices in all my cars, so I get real-time updates of where the car is, if it's moving or whatnot, and just installing like a dash cam, front and rear to protect yourself. But the RSX in general, the Integra, just DC2, DC5, doesn't matter what generation, it's prone to theft. So we all know that going into buying these cars, so we got to kind of put in our due diligence, make sure that we can protect our assets. That being said, those are the 5 key things that I kind of disliked about the RSX. Just going over real quickly the list again, it's just the white tan interior, number 1. Number 2, the wheel gap, floaty handling. Number 3, no LSD. Number 4, the rear sway bar hitting the exhaust or hitting suspension components. Go with the JDM Type R 22mm for fitment. And then the last thing was theft. And if you pay attention to all those things, and you can kind of maybe bring out the more potential of the RSX, and you can enjoy the car more on a daily basis. So please post your comments down below. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to best to reply to you guys. Tune in again for some other videos, and talk to you guys soon. Take it easy. Bye.